Perfect. All right, welcome back to the MVP podcast, episode 9 of season 2. We've got Max here, or better known as, I don't know, Slaughter It. I told him I'm going to Coco Pelado.
Close. Coco Pelao, which is
Pelao.
the
Ooh,
nickname on our podcast for me.
I'll work on that one.
No worries.
But obviously, he's the host of the Uncanny Coconuts podcast. If you're watching this, you'll be able to see the background. Otherwise, check him out wherever you stream your podcast, probably on the same platforms as this one right here. They're a little bit funnier than we are. I'll say that from what he was talking about.
We try to be.
He's going to bring some enjoyment to this show. He's going to talk about an industry that gets looked over for the most part. It's kind of relatively new, but it is important. It comes with the safety features. It's needed permits and all that stuff. So it is important. But he does drone. You do multiple things, but for here, we're going to talk about your drone business.
Right. Aerial drone photography.
That's the professional name. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I was trying to remember it. But yeah, give the audience I always start it the same way. Give the audience a background of how your working career kind of got you into this industry, and what have you learned and what have you taken away from getting here?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on here, Marcus. I do appreciate it. Well, I started in this business, so I'm a tech guy. I like technology. As a tech guy, I usually like computers and toys and all that. And about 6-7 years ago, I found myself getting laid off, and I was trying to think of what I wanted to get into. And I saw this as a new, I guess part of the reason it's so unknown to so many people still think it's really more of a hobby, but it's really a starting market. And the real thing about it, to think about it. So you have a drone, usually a nice DJI, a $1,500 machine or more, that takes professional looking video, super smooth, super clear.
And we're not talking about, hey, I'm going to list my home, pull out my iPhone, take a couple pictures, and we're good.
No, exactly. Like professional, panning and zooming and coming in and out. And I looked into it, and I really wanted to start a business doing that. So it turns out that, yes, you can buy a drone. Anybody can buy a drone, obviously, if you have the money. But in order to fly it commercially, in order to do, real estate and help roofers and to really make money off of it, one of the main things you need to get is this one federal FAA license called the FAR 107. Okay, now I got to tell you, I studied for this thing for a year because I did not want to take it and fail. So, and it got you doing stuff that, to be quite honest, live pilots are studying for. You have to study all these aeronautical maps that tell you how far away you are from an airport and at how many 100 feet you can fly within this airport, 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. If you see this little icon that looks like a tower, what does that mean? If there's a number, crazy stuff in the sense of like, wow, I didn't know I needed to study a pilot's, a pilot's test to really get to know this. But you do. And in a way, it's a good reason they did that. If you fly your drone anywhere near an airport, and there's different classifications of airports, depending on where they're at and how close you are, you may have to contact the traffic control tower or whatever means of access you need to let them know that you're going to be flying in that area. And let's be honest, your nephew with a drone isn't going to know that or care. But if you're going to be doing some commercial work, and if you think about it, the main reason for all this is safety. People, I'll tell you this much, actually, let's kick it up a notch in the fun section. You know what the number one question is that people ask the minute I tell them I fly drones? Oh, you ever spy on your neighbors? Like, no. Why would I spy on my neighbors? If I spy on my neighbors, they're going to call the police on me and I'm going to lose my license. Why would I do that? That makes no sense. But that's like the number one question I used to get asked all the time.
See, that wouldn't have been my first one. My first one is, how high can it go?
Oh, that one.
And my second one is, how fast can it go?
Okay. Well, those are kind of easy. So, how high can they go? It depends. Legally, you're only supposed to go no more than 400 feet,
Okay.
which the software and the controller on your phone will tell you. However, there are circumstances. So, if you're doing a tall building and the building is 400 feet, technically you can do 400 feet above that. So, in that
Okay.
scenario, you can do 800 feet. But again, this is the federal government making these tests of it. So you can go that 800 feet as long as you're within, I believe, and I may have the number wrong, but I believe it's 500 feet of circumference. So you have to be within 500 feet directly above this building in
Okay.
order to do the 800. However, if you're not, if there's in a building, 400 feet is the technical limit you can go.
Okay.
That being said, the software will let you go above that.
So where's my limit?
Your legal limit, what I am
Yeah.
legally is 400 feet.
Well, all right. I'm thinking Iron Man in the first movie, he just shoots up into space and all of a sudden it stops working.
Okay.
How high up do you think you can get this thing?
Well, there have been people, you can look this up on YouTube, that they've gone up, I think as high as 1,000 feet,
Okay.
2,000 feet. They weren't supposed to be flying that high.
Right.
And again, it's all a matter of safety here, right? If you're flying 2,000 feet, a real airplane or helicopter can crash into this thing.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
That's why
Don't do
legally,
it. It was
federally,
a,
yes,
it was a
correct.
bad question for our viewers. Don't try it.
Yes,
It's
I agree.
wrong.
It is wrong, and well, and let's say why it's wrong. It isn't that the government's trying to control us. Is that you don't want, God forbid, for someone in a small plane or a helicopter to be flying
Yeah.
above, not see this little toy drone,
Yeah.
and crash into it, and God forbid, people lose their lives. So
Yeah. I mean, a little drone will probably take down a Cessna. I'm sure a little
oh, I mean,
two-seater. If it hits
depending
it
on where
right.
it hits it, I mean,
Yeah.
being again a technical person, if it would have hit the engine intake somewhere, very much so. I mean,
Yeah.
if it hits the nose or something, probably. I mean, these things weigh anywhere from, I don't know, well, technically for that license, they can weigh anywhere from 2 to 55 pounds.
Okay.
So obviously, a much bigger drone,
Yeah.
which they use for a lot of commercial video filming, that would obviously be a lot bigger. And the bigger that it is, the more damage it can absolutely
Right.
do to a passenger
Right.
plane. So
Yeah, and this whole industry it's new. It hasn't been done very
um,
long.
no, I think since 2015, and the
Yeah,
rules are
and
changing all the time.
I got introduced in 2017. That would have been. I was going through a home. I had a roofer there checking the roof, and just it might have been around this time, September, October, November-ish, and he was getting up on the roof, and I was like, "So what do you do in the middle of winter in Wisconsin when the roof is covered in 3 feet of snow? It's icy, the
Right.
wind's going." And he's like, "When I was younger, I went up there. We have drones now." And I was like, "Oh, you have your own drone?" He's like, "No, I call in a pilot."
All right, so they
And I'm
probably
like,
outsource
"I've got
it.
100 more questions for you." And that's when I found out there's permits that need to be involved. There actually needs pilots that drive these things.
Absolutely.
And for me, being in real estate, I didn't even think about those questions. So no blame on anybody else who hasn't thought of them, because it's not something you think of, and it's not
Right.
something that's routine
Right.
that
And
people
again, it's a
do.
new industry. It really is. I mean, not too many people have their drone license. I'm glad you mentioned about the roofers, because I've actually reached out. When I started my company, I would reach out to roofers and say, hey, I'm not a roofer and I have no interest in being a roofer, but if you needed someone to fly a drone up there, I can do that for you, right?
Right.
And let's look at the big picture here, Marcus, if you don't mind my taking a sidestep. But
No, that's great.
part of the reason it's such a new field, if you ever wanted aerial photography or video just 10 years ago, so we're not talking about that long ago, right?
Right.
You usually had to hire a helicopter company with a pilot and a photographer. So there were three different people, or three, you had to rent a helicopter or a plane, you had to rent a pilot, unless you were a pilot, and you had to rent a photographer to go on this plane, on this helicopter, to take these beautiful aerial shots. So suffice to say, only if you had a lot of money, or if it
Yeah.
was a really, in terms of real estate, to bring it back to what your audience is, in terms of real estate, unless you were selling a, multi-million-dollar home where there's going to be enough profits that you can spare the 2-3 grand to have this video footage taken care of, you wouldn't have bothered. Most people wouldn't have
Right.
bothered. I
Right.
doubt most regular realtors would have.
Yeah.
But
And now it's gotten
now,
to a point where I have aerial videos and photos on every one of my listings.
absolutely,
It's just
because
become it's
right,
become common
ubiquitous,
practice, at least for me, because I want people to see the yard. I want them to be able to experience what
right,
goes on around the house rather than just what's inside. Because that, I mean, as much as the house is the house, like I tell my clients, the house can change for the most part. You can move walls, you can paint walls, you can change doors. You can't move. I mean, you can move a house. You're probably not going to pick the house up and move it though. So
right,
you want to know what's around you. So let's
absolutely.
show everybody what's around them. What do they get?
Right.
Um,
And it's just the ambience, things that, let's be honest, a regular photographer, I mean, there's only so far back you can go
yep.
before you lose track of what you're selling here, which is the house.
Right.
But with aerial photography, you can pan, you can zoom, you can show the beautiful lake in the background, the
Yep.
forest drive up to the house. You know what I mean? Like it gives you, so number one, it gives us a lot more freedom. You
Hmm.
could express the house however you want to really showcase what makes it stand out. Number two, well, here goes the other thing. Before, when you had to get a helicopter and all, you had to schedule this, days in advance, I'm sure, at least. And then if it was rained out or something, then you had to reschedule this whole production. Now, let's be honest, if you have someone that's got a drone pilot license, and there are a lot of us, a lot more people have been taking that test and are able to do it. Um, Someone can show up, and it takes them maybe 30 minutes to set up, and they can take all the footage they need in an hour.
Yeah.
So the longest part is probably the drive to the site and making sure that the weather's good.
Yeah.
And then they take all the footage they need, and hey, if you need them to come out again, not a big deal. The other
Yeah.
thing is safety. This drone can fly to within a few feet of the house, of the roof, of the wall, and and you're still pretty confident it's not going to cause a damage. Can you imagine? I mean, in the old days, they had to get a super zoom camera, and how low could that helicopter really have gotten to that home?
Right.
So it's
Right.
just again, I love technology. It's something new that technology has given us, and we can get some unbelievable. I mean, I love to spend my days on YouTube watching drone videos sometimes,
Yeah.
and what some of these
No, they're
guys
awesome.
really
And
do.
we got 3 boys at home. My son he is all about drones and technology, and he watches all that kind of stuff on YouTube. They're all over the
I,
place. But I was just thinking, I know that the roofer used it, but I was thinking more proactive for him. If you're trying to throw out bids for roofs, rather than taking your ladder and climbing up on all these things and getting measurements, just hire somebody with a drone license, go through. If you're doing a property on Main Street, when you have the
right.
clearance to go do the drone on that one, I don't know legality. Are you able to take drone photos of the top of other properties, or are you restricted just to that lot?
Actually, you can. However, the main question here, and this brings up, you actually bring up an excellent point, Marcus, which is safety and security. So I told you that one thing that people always ask, right? Hey,
Yeah.
have I ever spied on someone? Well, actually, I'm sorry. I think we were talking before this. So one thing that everyone always asks me, their first question, for some reason, when they know that I do aerial photography, they always kind of have a chuckle and they go, "Hey, have you ever spied on anyone with your drone?" And it's like, no, why would I do that? If I spy on someone, they have the legal right to call the police
Yeah.
and to, arrest me, and I can lose my license, right? But you know what? I'll even go into a scenario that actually happened to me once, which is and I'm just want to say this story to emphasize that usually you want to give the owner and the neighbors a heads up that you're going to be flying in that area, because unfortunately, people being who they are, they will usually gravitate towards, hey, what is this guy doing taking pictures of my house.
Yeah.
So I do usually try. Obviously, the owner of the home knows that I'll be going there to videotape or to record. And usually, if they have a good communication with their neighbors, and they can let them know, hey, we're gonna have someone who's gonna be videotaping the house, recording the house, so just so you're aware. But
Yeah.
I actually had a scenario where I was visiting a friend's house when I was still playing with it, and my friend had just moved into a new house, single family home, and I go, hey, do you mind if I take some videos of your roof actually and of your house, so that I can use it as my stock footage? He's like, sure, let's do it. And that way, I could have shown him the drone. We start flying it. I gotta tell you, Marcus, we never flew more than 20 feet away from this home. We zoomed in, we zoomed out, we did straight down the roof, and we noticed a neighbor literally about 5 houses down from my friend. He's in his truck and he starts revving up, and he kind of crosses us once, and then he stops and does like a U-turn, and he crosses us again, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And then he comes back and he stops and he goes, hey man, that's your drone? And we go, oh yeah, yeah, I'm a drone pilot. I'm actually certified. A lot of people usually stop you to ask about the drone and what it does, and they're bewildered by, oh my, look at this flying toy, right?
Yeah.
And this guy's like, hey man, don't fly that near my house. You fly that near my house, I'm gonna shoot it down. So right off the bat, I'm like, whoa. It's like, well, hey sir, well, you know what? I understand that, but as you can see, we're not anywhere near your house.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the guy that lives in that house. He's with me. And he was like, yeah, that's my house. It's like, well, we're just flying over his house because we're videotaping his house and his roof. And the guy's like, just don't go near my house or I will shoot it down. And at that point, it was like, okay, there's no use talking to this guy. So it's like,
Yeah.
understood, sir. We're not going near your house, but no worries. That wasn't the plan. And then you started talking, I could call the cops. He was like, listen, if you feel that you need to call the cops, please do, because
Go
we're
right
not doing
ahead.
anything illegal. Right.
Yeah.
This is the owner of the house. We're over his property. But I get your concern. But, and the guy didn't want to hear it. So, and, but that was an experience for me because it was like, wow, like that was the first time that had ever happened. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it happens to people that fly drones all the time. Sometimes you have the guys that think the government is spying on them, or
Yeah.
and it doesn't help that a lot of the let's call it the stories that fantasize a lot of what you could do with a drone is usually like these private eyes that are using it to spy on people, or so I get it, but it was just
I
like,
mean, if he wants to stay incognito, making a scene about making sure it doesn't go over his house, little suspicious, but
hey, I'm with you on that. My friend was even like, dude, what does he got in his backyard? Is he like growing weed or something? Why is he so defensive?
I was
about
like,
us?
what is this guy really trying hard to hide? I don't
Right,
get this
right.
one, but
It definitely raised some flags, but it's like,
yeah.
what? We're not out here to, cause a ruckus. This is where my buddy, we just moved into. It was like, listen, buddy, if you need to call the cops, whatever you feel comfortable with, be like, but I'm telling you, I have a license to do this, and we're not going to your house. So,
Yeah.
but but it was one of those stories I like to share because it's like, it isn't always fun in games because you do get people like that sometimes that really feel like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And and it's like, hey, well, I'm flying this drone, so I usually have to make sure I have my business cards with me, that I explain what I'm doing, that who I'm recording it for, what my purpose is there. Because a lot of times most people are just, especially the way things are nowadays, most people are
Yeah.
just being a little bit cautious. Hey,
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
I
this
mean,
guy.
in their defense, I guess they see more people randomly at the parks flying them.
Right.
So I guess it kind of does seem, it could be a little weird being in the middle of a subdivision.
Right.
Like, why is a stranger that I've never seen before with a logo? Like, I'm sure you wear your logo.
Oh yeah,
shirt,
look,
your
I got
logo
the shirt.
gear, but they don't know it, so they're like, "What is it?"
Right. Right. Well, again, it's such a new industry
Yeah.
that these are gonna. I call these kind of like the growing pains. Some
Yeah.
people are not used to seeing this. Again, I got to tell you, 9 out of 10 times, I get people come out with their kids and they want to talk to me, and it's like, hey, I'd love to talk to you, but I got to focus on this.
Yeah.
Make sure that I'm taking the shots. Make sure that I'm paying attention that there aren't any passenger planes or anything that Joan can run into. But it's like, if you give me a few minutes, I'm about to bring it down. I'd be more than happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I talk to them as long as they want, and I answer all their questions. The kids like to touch it, and and
Yeah.
look at it, and they're like, "Can I fly it?" It's like,
Uh,
unless your parents got $2,000 in case you crash it, no.
I was gonna say, like, these are not toys. Well, they're very, very expensive toys. We'll say
They are.
that.
I mean, I like to
So
call them expensive toys, but they are pretty much equipment. I mean,
yeah,
they can fly pretty fast. Depending on what model you have, most of them can usually do at least 30 miles an hour. Um, but they have I know that some of the newer ones have a speed setting, and they can go as fast as like 60.
really,
Oh yeah, yeah,
man, you'll get a property done in no time, 60 miles an
right.
hour.
Right. Well, but if you think about it, when it comes to property, your uh speed actually isn't that good, because you want a nice smooth, like, that's one
Yeah,
thing that's taken a few years to get. If you
the
were to see some,
stabilizing.
right, well, the camera, it does great stabilizing, but I gotta tell you, if I were to show you the first few videos I ever did, and like the latest ones, huge difference. The first ones, you see this
Really?
jagged, turning, and it'll, even when you have to gradually fly it, like if it's a big truck, and everything, the panning, the zoomings, even when it's just going across, you want to do it nice and smooth, because remember, we're doing this so that it'll record a beautiful movement around the house.
Right.
So you really don't want speed. I mean, you could be really good and get speed and slow it down, I guess, but you probably don't want
Yeah, at that
too much.
point, just take it slow, do it right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but for
you're pretty
fun.
much shooting a movie around the house.
Yes,
So
absolutely, and that's part of the reason why it is a bit of an art. I mean, if you were, well, for example, I know a good friend that's a realtor down here I'm in Florida, by the way, and um, when I started doing this, he got a drone, but he's never gotten his license yet. So at the beginning, he was getting away with it, but now he knows. So I've noticed a lot of his video footage. He's not using video footage anymore. He's just taking still pictures, because the minute you start doing that, you really should get your license. And don't get me wrong, anyone can technically take the test and study for it. However, the test costs, last I heard, it was $150. So you got to pay to take this test. You have to take
yep,
it in a testing center where real pilots go to take their test, by the way. So it's a
really?
federal, yeah, like a federal FAA testing site, which is usually near a small airport.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to pass it with a 70 or above. If you fail it, you have to take it again, and you have to pay another $150. So that is why when I took it, I made sure I was very confident that I was going to pass it, because I was like, I'm not going to waste $150.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. So it's
And now, how long have you been doing this? How many years?
about 3 years. I mean, the good
Okay.
thing is I've had a full-time permanent job, so this has been like my side hustle.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
and
fun side hustle though.
it is. It is. I mean, I get to play with my drone and fly it around. And I've gotten a few different projects. Actually, right now I'm working with a paint company that they're a commercial painter, and I've been doing some before and after drone videos for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so they want videos of before these huge properties, which are like apartment buildings, that they have to do all this concrete work and pressure wash it and then repaint. So
Yeah.
I'll go in there before they do all that, take some video, and then go in afterwards when they're done to show the professional, results.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing where this industry takes us, because I know that um, it's not something that I'm ever going to be able to get my hands on it. Like I don't
Mhm.
think I'll ever get to the pilot license, get my own drone, but I know I'm going to use it for the rest of my career in real estate.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of have to, because everyone else is going to be using it, and if you find
Yeah,
yourself a good connection that can give you some really nice shots and help you sell that property, you know, quicker, then why
yeah,
not?
yeah. So where do you think the industry is headed? Do you think real estate's going to pick up? Is there another industry where these are taking off and um You were seeing more
Absolutely.
benefit as well?
Well, you know what? I gotta be honest. Actually, the real estate industry has been the hardest for me to do the drone business, and I understand why though. Unless you're selling a, again, huge house with a huge commission on it that's got a beautiful landscape around it, it's probably not worth getting, aerial photography. Because number one, is going to cost more. It's going to take more time to produce, etc. But I will say in construction, I've been getting a lot of interest with that. Roofers are
Yep.
using it. Again, it if you think about it, a roofer used to have to risk their bodies to climb up sometimes, 30, 40, 50 feet, play around on the roof to visually inspect it, which is almost an oxymoron because the minute they walk on those tiles on the roof, they're liable to break them,
Yeah.
but they have to, I mean, how else are they going to inspect them? Now,
Right.
you can show up with a drone. A drone can get as close as, 2 or 3 feet, 4K high definition. On a beautiful day, you see stuff that is like, you know what? I never even noticed that when I was up there.
Yeah.
Um, and
You can probably get down to like how well the flashing is going on
oh
the,
yeah,
the roofing.
absolutely. And when here goes the real beauty of it. Now you actually have physical proof of it as well.
Yep.
I've actually done for a few homeowners, I've actually done some video where they just want some video of their roofs for their insurance. We're down here in Florida. We get a lot of hurricanes.
Mhm.
Sometimes before a big hurricane hits, I throw out hey, I'll go out there, $75, take some video of your roof. And
Oh
now they
yeah.
have physical proof of how their roof was before the hurricane hit.
Yeah. That's
So
very good. I mean, that is why going into a project, I take pictures before because I want them
absolutely.
to see like, okay, and I look at we're going to be working in this room. We're going to be working in the kitchen, but to get to the kitchen, we have to walk past the living room. And I'll inspect that doorway. And if
Right.
there's a notch or something or a scratch, like I'll just snap a picture of it. Cause like you never know when you're
Right.
bringing stuff in, what you hit, what you bump, and what you scratch.
Right.
So get a picture, have it timestamped just in case.
Never hurts. I mean, it
Again,
takes a
it's
little
all
extra
about
effort.
security and safety. And
Right. And well, in CYOA, right? Cover
yeah,
your own ass.
yep, exactly.
I
We're
don't know
not
if you
going to
care.
edit that out. We're leaving that one in. Everybody knows what the full acronym is.
That's right.
Um,
CYOA, cover your own ass. And you know
but
what?
yeah,
I wanted to mention one other thing, Marcus. Speaking
yeah,
about pictures, right? There is one other technology that I was toying with. Now, I don't have any stock in these guys. I actually had an account, but I wasn't getting enough people to do it. But I think for anyone in real estate, it's a great new technology. And all you need is what's called a 360-degree camera. Have you heard of a website called Matterport?
no,
Okay. I would definitely recommend you and your listeners check it out. It basically allows you to buy a 360 camera, which the one I would recommend is one called the Insta1 360X2, right? Actually, I have it right here. I should just show you. But it is a camera that takes pictures and video. Oh, I'll have to turn that off. But it takes pictures and video. There you go. In 360 degrees, right?
okay,
Um, this Matterport software, the cheapest tier is $10 a month, and it allows you to have up to 5 properties in there, right? And I think it's definitely worth it. And what you do is you take this camera, you put it on a stand, and you basically inside the house, you put it right by the door. It takes a snapshot, and again, it's a 360-degree surround. Let's call it surround sound snapshot.
yep,
Then you move it 5-10 feet in. You take another snapshot.
yep,
It may take you a big house. I actually did a house of like 4,000 square feet, and that took me like an hour.
yep.
And then
So I think that's what my photography has, but I'm gonna let you keep going with that.
right.
Explain more on
So
this.
and all they do is that then Matterport, you do it all through an app and through this the camera itself is maybe like $450. And then they have an AI algorithm that'll put all this together into a 360-degree model that now you can walk through that house
Yep.
the next day, and it'll give you a link, and you can send the link, and
Yeah.
everyone can literally do a visual walkthrough.
I
Dude,
look,
super cheap.
I talk about the digital dollhouse. You can,
Yes.
it basically, like the way that I structure mine for anybody listening, if you're an agent, I don't know if it will help you, but I do the drone, the aerial, and
Mm-hmm.
then right after that, I do that digital walkthrough, because you can take the roof
Right.
off and then you can go in and it'll say like roof, second story, first floor, basement. And you can pick the
Absolutely.
floor, and then all of a sudden it'll zoom you into a kitchen, and you
Yes.
just click on your screen and it'll like bend you around everything, and you can go into the closets. You can
Right.
see what shirts they have hanging up, what shoes they have in the rack, spin to the
Exactly.
right, see what's on their shelf. It's so
It's
like
like high
high
tech,
quality.
hi-fi, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
HD quality, walk through a house in seconds. And I've been putting them in, especially through like COVID. I was like, there are some people that just aren't ready to go out into somebody's home, or as a seller, you're not ready to have people in your home.
Right.
Do a walkthrough. They can see everything that's in there. And then
Yes.
from there, if they're a very like involved or serious buyer, then invite them in the house. Or if you're serious about the house, then you go see the house. So,
Absolutely.
yep, that is a technology that I second. I would recommend that one as well.
It
Like
is.
it,
And you know what? For someone starting out in it, again, that camera costs about $450. There are a few ones that are a little nicer, but that one is more than adequate enough. And and again, this Matterport software costs $10 a month.
yeah.
And you can
And
get up to 5 properties.
as an agent, I'm gonna say, don't waste your time. Call Max.
There
Don't
you
get it
go.
yourself.
Even
Call
better.
Max. You have enough
Yeah.
stuff to do. You don't need to worry about formatting pictures. Let Max do it. That is what they do.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
but I do find somebody, if you're not in Florida, find somebody like Max that has that
Yeah, well, I mean,
capability.
I'm a technology guy. I love technology. I love the fact I've done that for my home. I've done that for my friend's home, just for kicks, because I know I can.
Yeah,
And it's for me, it's fun to play with that kind of stuff. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if your main goal is to sell homes and buy homes, you don't want to spend your time with the technical side, especially if you're not a
yeah.
very technical person.
I mean, you're trying to get thousands of pictures condensed, pick out the good ones, work on tint. I talked to my photographer. He was actually on our show. So if you go
Okay.
back into season one, you could probably find Virtual 360 and listen to it. But
Oh, cool. I will.
yeah, the only, and I was going to mention this earlier. He could have gotten all the photography in this. I think it was a 45. The biggest house was 4,500 square feet with drone and walkthrough. I think he was there for a total of 3 hours.
Right.
He did like 12 hours maybe, or 9 hours of editing. So
Right.
the
Well, that's the
editing
other
part,
side. That's the
the
other side
editing
people don't
part,
realize.
you're on the phones, you're trying to get buyers, you're trying to like, you've got your own stuff going on with your business. Don't edit pictures. Let Max do it. He's better than us. He'll always be better than us. So
And you know
just
what?
give it to him.
Yeah, you made a excellent point, Marcus, because then I was just talking about the ease of you being able to obtain that, but you're right. Editing this video, especially video, editing
Yeah.
video, the getting the right color balance, if they're too dark, if they're too light,
Yep.
that takes a tremendous amount of energy and hours. And if
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing with that, if you're not, even if you're, oh, I'm good, I can get my own, dude, it's gonna take you I'd say for every 1 hour of video footage, it can easily take you 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
And
you
like,
you notice how flimsy your shots are. Like, oh no, that looks horrible.
yeah.
Someone's gonna get dizzy looking at that.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how much back of the scenes stuff he was editing, but I mean, he was out there for I think a total of 3 hours, but he had to leave and then he came back the next day. The reason he came back is because all of the interior pictures he wanted to come. It was later in the day on a cloudy day, because he can then pull that contrast out so you're not getting the glare on the windows. But
Right.
he wanted bright and sunny for the aerials. So he came back in two different segments. I can take a picture, but he can take a much better picture every time. So like
Absolutely.
his knowledge and his expertise of doing this for a decade is way better than I can even do. Because I would have gone through with that picture with the camera, taken all those 360s, and then had to go back and edit it, find out that I should have done it on a cloudy day rather than a sunny day.
Right.
And
Right.
it
No.
just
No.
the
Yeah.
ease of mind. Like
Yes.
working with professionals, they're licensed, it's easy. I
No, and
recommend
again,
it.
you bring up another excellent point, Marcus, which is, the reason you're hiring these professionals is because it's a lot of work,
Yeah,
and if you don't know what you're doing, it's gonna be even more work. I
right.
can tell you how many times I've gone out and the weather. I mean, the weather's one thing that if the sun isn't right or is like, you know what, this property, it seems to look better in the morning or in the afternoon, you're gonna have to come back in the morning, the afternoon, and you're
Yep.
gonna find out through trial and error. But a photographer, someone who does this for a living, is gonna know and not waste their time or yours.
Right. And that's about it. I mean, and when you get into it and when you're not, I guess when you're not into it and inexperienced, you don't really understand what the experience brings to it.
Right.
Because in my field, like I could have my son go and hang up a sheet of drywall and then put mud on it and sand it. He'd enjoy it so much. The end quality, not very good,
Right.
but he could watch a YouTube video. I could show him and he could do it. Or I
Right.
could go get this subcontractor that I contract and have the whole house done in the time that my son would do it. And it would be way better quality. Like I would take that way more. And I'm
Right.
sitting here working with a crew of 5 people. And I even think my contractor who does mudding, who is one guy, would get a house done quicker than us 5 total. Because we're not mudders. We just
Right.
don't do
That's not
finished
what you do for
footing.
a living. You haven't acquired that level of skill to quickly and easily and with such quality to complete that. It's
Right. So I'm
just the
looking
way
at
it
like,
is.
okay, yeah, it stinks that I have to pay him a couple $1,000s. I would
Right.
rather pay it to my guys, but like my guys also don't like doing it. So they don't like doing it. They're not as good. Like, let's get the professional that wants to do it and loves doing it in to do it. Because at the end of the day, I'm probably saving money by having this one person do it because it's going to
Absolutely.
be better on my sale price. Your photography, you're probably going to get a better sale price.
Mm-hmm.
So mudding your photography, better quality, better sale price, less hassle, less headache. Like it for me being in it, I'm like it. You
Well,
don't
it's a
have to convince
no-brainer.
me to
It's a
get it.
no-brainer.
Yeah,
Is I think what you're trying to say, Marcus, is a no-brainer. I mean, well, and then especially with what you're doing, time is money. Yes, could you do it all yourself? Of course. It'll take you what, a year? If you're gonna do all the but that's what you pay these people for. You pay for their professionalism, you pay for their
right.
level of skill.
Yep.
Same thing, to bring it back to the Jones stuff. Yeah, you can have a nephew take a video of the house, but if they don't really know what they're doing and they're playing with their drone, they're not gonna get the same level of quality that someone that's doing this as a profession, for
Right.
realtors. So
Right. And for me, the other side of it is legality. If let's say like we're flying the drone up there to take a look at this roof that we're going to redo, I'm flying my drone and I don't see like a power line or something.
right,
And I hit that, like, I don't want that on me personally.
right,
Like, I
and
don't
most
have the
people shouldn't.
insurance to carry it. I don't have the permit to fly it. Like,
Right, and that's again another great point. If you have I guess to bring it back to the Jones stuff, they have to be licensed. So that one thing I would always ask any realtor that's using a drone pilot, because a lot of times you'll see some guys come crawl out of the woodwork. Hey, I could do it for a lot cheaper. Okay, great. Do you have the experience? But do you have your FAR 107? That's what it's called. If they don't, then that's a problem
yeah,
because that's the first thing. God forbid something goes wrong. First thing they're gonna look at is that person licensed. Second thing, if they don't have their FAR 107, the one thing if anything, I really hope that sticks with all of your listeners is the reason for that license is that you're able to you're almost able to prove that that video footage was taken in a responsible manner with safety in mind, right?
hmm
So if you were to technically anybody can buy a drone and anybody can take that footage. However, if you put that footage on your brochure, if you own a company of any type and you use that for your advertising, if the Federal Aviation Administration sees that, they will quickly they're getting up to it because not everyone gets caught obviously, but
yeah,
they will ask, hey, what is the license number of the person who took this footage? And if you can't provide that, get ready for some really bad fines,
yeah,
really bad.
yeah,
um like let me add in, there's this was one story, you could probably Google it. of a good Samaritan, had a drone, loved flying it. Um, I guess he was so proud of his drone, he told this not for profit organization they were having a whole event, and he offered to fly the drone and take a video of this event from the sky.
Okay.
Hey, free money, not for profit, great. He did so. That event and everything about it wound up in the newspaper, and the FAA fined him about $14,000, and he was not able to get out of it. And it
Whoa.
was like, hey, but I didn't charge them. It was like, no, but it was used in a commercial. It was used in a newspaper. It was used for not for profit. Doesn't matter whether they paid you or not. If you didn't have a license, you were flying it illegally.
Yeah.
And the guy got dinged, for
Dang.
being a good guy.
That
So
stinks.
it does, but it happens. It does happen. Is my point.
I wonder if they started that guy at GoFundMe.
I think they did. I think they
Did they?
did. Now that you mention, I think they did, because he had some legal obstacles to go over at that point.
Ooh,
But
sounds like it.
yeah,
14,000 of them.
yeah.
Dang. Well, I hopefully he recovered, and hopefully he learned his lesson that either he went and got his pilot's license, or he now says,
Right.
I know somebody that has it.
Right.
He'll come do it next time.
And you know what? There's plenty of if you go on Fiverr and a few different things online, there's been a few companies that will work with contractors for drone contractors. So
It's surprising what you can find on there.
yeah. So the point being is, like, you know what? I think it's not worth the risk. If you do want that drone footage, get your what was the name of your guy again?
Virtual 360.
Okay, but get Virtual 360 to do it. But if you wanted to try to get it yourself, then hire someone that knows about it.
Yeah,
You don't know the local rules. You don't know the local airports.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain apps you can download that tell you that information, and that I use, for example. But I mean, yeah, it's like saying, "Hey, you read a book on heart surgery. Are you going to do it?" Like, no,
Right.
you get a heart surgeon.
Right. Right.
So
Go to the expert.
absolutely.
Do it. It'll save yourself all the headache. It will. Well, thanks for coming out. We try to keep this to an hour, so I'm going to cut it off here. But how can people get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Well, I do have a website, ftgdrone.com.
Okay.
So I mean, anybody wants any information, they want to reach out to me. Even though I obviously don't travel, it's not going to be worth your cost if you're somewhere. I'm in South Florida.
Yeah, we do have listeners from across the country. So
no, there you go. So
any
yeah,
of those
absolutely.
Floridians?
Any Floridians, I'm game. Just go to my website, or ftgdrone.com. And FTG, by the way, stands for Fly Tech Guy. It was,
I like it. I like that.
So ftgdrone.com. Feel free to fill out the form. I'd be more than happy to talk about it. You're not obligated to go with me or buy anything up front. Just talk out, see what you need, see if I can help.
I like it. That's awesome. We'll make sure to put that all in the show notes.
Sure. And if you don't mind, Marcus, so I am part of a podcast with my co-host. If I can plug that real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, we usually do little comedy stuff, and we talk about a little bit about everything. Usually my co-host, which I call Coco Loco, which stands for like crazy coconut, we'll talk about conspiracy theories. And he's usually really upset with technology. You'll probably get along with him real good, because he hates technology. And he's usually complaining about his iPhone and his computer. But it's more of an entertainment podcast. But feel free to check it out. We got almost 50 episodes on there. We've been doing it about a year and a half.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, the Uncanny Coconuts.
We will definitely be.
Yeah,
I will definitely check it out. I'm gonna check
yes, absolutely. And I was just gonna say, we actually just added it to iHeartRadio. If you have a smart speaker, you can tell Alexa to play it for you. Just play the Uncanny Coconuts.
Interesting. I didn't even know they had that feature. That's sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's something you got to do to. By the way, for your podcast, you can manually add yourself to different, let's call it publishers. So what we use Anchor, by the way, but we were on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and I had to do something out of the ordinary to add myself to iHeart, Amazon Audible, Amazon Music, and right now, actually, we're working on Pandora as well. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, you just have to kind of manually go in there, and you probably ask was it Tara? Your
Natasha?
Natasha. You probably want to ask
Yeah.
Natasha. It's all technical stuff.
Yeah, that is definitely, if you've listened to the last 2 seasons, you know who the tech guru is.
Yes,
So
yes. Actually, I will say I did listen to 1 or 2 episodes. The one that really stood out for me, and I was like, oh wow, like I learned a lot of good information. I don't remember the name of the host, but a gentleman that was like the 7-2
7-2 mindset.
yes, 7-2
Yes.
mindset. That was an
Yep.
awesome episode, man.
Yeah,
I gotta
he's on
say.
Instagram. I follow him. He puts out content like every day. It's like my morning ritual to like go on Instagram and check out
Yeah.
his
Yeah, and that was one
yesterday.
thing he talked about, the morning mirror. That dude, that all really like stood out for me. And I was like, dude, I gotta listen to this guy more often. So yeah. So that was a
Yeah.
great episode that I just want to compliment you guys on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely let him know that you like the episode. And yeah, just if you follow him on Instagram, get
Mhm.
ready to get inspired. He's like,
Yeah,
he's a
well, just that
go-getter.
episode inspired me, I gotta admit. So
Yeah,
great
no, it
stuff,
was
man.
cool. It was very cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. We'll put all
Welcome.
the information that you share with us on the show notes. So we'll get your podcast in there, your website, all that kind of stuff. For the listeners out there, if you want to get a hold of him, reach out to him. Very friendly. He'll answer all your questions. Do it safely. That's all I'm going to say
Yeah,
with drones.
right.
Do it
Just
safely.
and don't spy on your neighbors, no matter what your
Don't
friends
spy on your
tell you.
neighbors.
If you got a
Exactly.
drone, no matter what you do, don't do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, great. Thanks
All
for
right. Well,
having me,
thanks a
Marcus.
lot. Have a great weekend.
You too, man.
Bye.
Bye.